Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm Treazy from Reno, Nevada. Yeah.
I'm just saying, they say, how the fuck you do that? You go hard like every day. It seemed like you never run out of anything.
That's a long story. I got the name Treazy because I wanted to rap when I was like, I don't know, 10 or 11. And then I wanted to be Treazy. And then just so happened that there was already a guy named Treazy that was like he wasn't from Reno, he was like from northern Nevada or something, but he used to sell a lot of his music, like CDs, like on the corners here in Reno. Now, it's a coincidence that I also wanted to be Treazy when there was this guy who was in Reno selling music by the name of Treazy, but he wasn't like huge by any means, so I was like, I might just keep rolling with Treazy. And then I had a bunch of older homies who would always just call me Treazy and try to get rid of the hyphen, and then they would just call me Treazy to like tease me, I guess. That sounds corny, Treazy to tease me, but like, they would like just be, fucking with me or whatever, and they'd call me Treazy, and I'd always have to correct them. I'd always have to be like, no, it's Treazy, it's not, or it's Treazy, it's not Treazy. And then after a while, I was like, well, there's already a Treazy, I might as well just be Treazy. So, and then it just kind of stuck. I think it was just more organic because people were calling me Treazy just to like fuck with me, and then they wouldn't stop, and then everybody just just kept on calling me Treazy. So that's where I got that name. Yeah. I thought I was really original with Treazy though, so it broke my heart when I found out there was another dude with the name Treazy. I grew up listening to like country music. My mom listened to a lot of country, and it's pretty much all I ever listened to. And I think just something about the way that country has songwriting structures and the way they tell stories and stuff really, first of all, made me love music because of the way that they could like really wrap you with some of the emotion and some of the details of how they make you really feel like you're inside of a song. And then after I discovered hip hop and R&B through friends of mine, and as I got older and I had more friends that were into hip hop, then it was like a whole new love for music. But it was branched out of like what I grew to know. Like I wasn't in classic rock and country anymore. It was like this whole other variation of like how to make people feel emotion through music. And so once I started listening to hip hop, like, learning different melodies and just humming and singing along to songs and just like making words rhyme, like it always really, really, really captured me and made me think like how you can take the English language and like, make it a fun thing, a very thoughtful thing. And so I got into music really just kind of thinking like, okay, that stuff is cool, but I bet I could do something with it. So it was just always really challenging for me. And then from there, just, also as you get better, then the better you get, the more you want to keep going because you want to showcase what you can do more and more and more. I'm trying to think of anybody other than Kanye West. It's hard not to say Kanye, right? Like, it's like, why isn't it Kanye? Probably Shania Twain. Probably Shania Twain. 50 Cent. I sound like an old head right now.
Yeah, you do sound like an old head.
No, let's see. Who's a current music influence? I'm really big on Kendrick. I like Kendrick a lot. Actually, I'm a really, really big Isaiah Rashad fan. I think that's still cool to say. I'm a big Isaiah Rashad fan for sure. Growing. The Reno music scene is definitely growing. It's more versatile than it's ever been. I feel like I've been through like 3 different waves of Reno hip hop culture, and I think we're like in the 3rd wave right now with some of the best acts that have ever come through here, and I feel like the most eclectic acts. Like right now, it just feels like everybody who's doing it is doing it the right way, whereas like I think that before there was a lot of people trying to figure it out, and they would do good for a while and then they'd fall off, or they'd be hot for a while and then they fizzle out or do something else. But it feels like everybody who's like really, really engaged is really putting on. Like I'm really a big fan of a lot of a lot of the cats who are like consistent right now.
Who are your favorite from Reno?
Reno, all of them. There's so many. Darth Tone, of course. Shout out my big brother Darth Tone. Jimmy Teflon's crazy right now. I loved his Money Talks album. Stu J, ZP, of course. Savvy, shout out my boy Sav. You know, the older guys, New Car Smell, Smoke Screezy, Eli McCoy, Ryan Brennan, City, of course. Shout out my dog City. That's like my homeboy. Trev is really tight. I really enjoy Trev. Lil Traffic, one of my favorites. Bozzy, of course. Who else is really hot right now? Who I think is like really, really killing it. Shout out Hardcastle. Jeez, there's so many these days. I feel like there's like every time you turn around, there's a new Reno hip hop rapper. Shout out OG David James. My bad. So OG David James, of course. OG was on my album. Shout out to OG David James. He's about to come out with an album in like a week or two. Yeah, is it next week? Or is it the 28th or something like that? So is it next week? Yeah. OG David James. I always forget because he's in Southern California now, but that's a real Reno cat for sure. Yes, yeah. Josh Alexander, shout out Josh. He hasn't dropped anything recently, but Josh is huge. Peso, BBK Peso. That kid's tight. I really, really like him. Shout out him. There's a lot of people, but like I said, I feel like we're in like the third wave of Reno hip hop. You know, I feel like I've seen it when it was like a bunch of dudes who didn't know how to put their music on the internet, and now it's like dudes who are consistently on TikTok and shit. Like it's just evolved. Everything's like super magnified now because of just the environment that we're in with streaming and whatever else. So yeah. Did I miss anybody on the hip hop list? I don't know. Oh, Treazy. Shout out Treazy. Yeah, I think that the title was really just this play on like, in order to like really do something or really make a difference within your own life, you have to go ghost for a minute. I think everybody experiences that in different ways. It doesn't matter, you know, what industry it's in, or like what you're doing for a living, or like who you hang around. I think everybody experiences that, like, I need to take a step back and like focus on me in order to level myself up. And so it was just kind of this play on, I was having this conversation, very short conversation with Zelda, shout out Zelda, and she was saying that she related to the title, and I think it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, when you want to be in the scene and you want to hang out with people or show your face or whatever, but you can't because you have to do something for yourself, but you can't explicitly be like, hey, I can't hang out because like I'm trying to better myself. Like it feels weird, right? So there's this weird stigma around like, hey, like I'm not gonna be around anymore. Like you can't just like upfront say that. But that's essentially what it is, right? It's like, you know, just putting it out there. Hey, if anybody wants me, I'm not gonna be around because I'm busy trying to do my thing. And saying try to get rich is just like, you know, nobody's ever gonna tell you, oh, I can't go out tonight because I'm trying to get rich. Obviously, it's not going to happen in one night, right? But it's like the idea of that. Hope I didn't over-explain that.
No, that's not really like explained.
Yeah. And you know, I think that it was just kind of, because it's just like this long-ass phrase, part of me was like, okay, it's a long-ass phrase, so it'll be catchy for people to say and just bullshit with, you know, I can't hang out, I'm trying to get rich. Now I can't go anywhere. I'm not allowed to go anywhere because if people see me out with other people, then they're like, what happened? I thought you couldn't hang out. Yeah. You know, the big thing for me was it took so long to create this album, this piece of work, that I didn't want it to just be one of those things that like I work on, I tell everybody about it, and then I drop it, and then we forget about it, and then it's just like, well, it's out there. Go listen to it. Like I wanted it to be an experience, and I wanted it to be, I still want it to be an experience. Like I want it to be this multi-dimensional, multimedia, living, breathing thematic experience. You know, I didn't want it to just be this music that I put out. So I wanted it to kind of grab people in a physical sense and get people in rooms and having conversations and just kind of building this overall sense of like, oh, it doesn't just die at the music. It's also like a lifestyle, and it's also like, you know, this could be a movie. You could write a sitcom based on this. You know, you could, you know, have multiple shows with multiple different vibes and things of that nature. So when I did those listening parties, it was just a way of trying to keep it alive before I had to let it out into the world. I wanted people to get excited about it. I wanted myself to get excited about it, right? I was at the finish line already, so I was like, what can I do to amp it up? And that was the best thing that I can think of, is I wanted to do listening parties, but I wanted them to be private, selective. I wanted creatives to be there. It's just kind of trying to expand outside of just creating a song or an album or whatever. That's the other thing too, is like I wanted them to be exclusive and inclusive, but at the same time there's still moments where I missed, where I was like, damn, I should have told this person or that person. But you know, it happens. You miss people, I guess. Like I said, it's a growing scene. Like I couldn't get everybody. Shout out to Nesta for going, like, I think Nesta went every single time, or you know, there's only like one other person. Like, you know, most people went twice. Some people only went one time. So it was a good experience overall, though, for sure, getting all those people in the same room. So the project I did it with my boy Van X. He produced the whole tape. Shout out Van X. He's a creative genius, but his beats are very, what do you call it? They're not very typical. They're unique for sure. And so the whole reason behind me even wanting to jump on him is me and him had worked together in the past on different songs, and he did beats before, and I felt like trying to hone in on a sound and like make something that was unique to me could only be done with somebody who was also local, or somebody who I could be in the same room with, somebody who I already had a chemistry with. So he was providing beats or snippets to beats and that I thought had a lot of potential, that were really tight, and then I would just be like, even though it felt like it was maybe hard to put something together to them, like it felt challenging to be like, I can write on anything, and so like, what can I make out of this abstract ass beat or whatever, or like, you know, would this sound good as a full song? And so I just tapped him and said, hey, let's make a project. And then maybe 2 or 3 songs in, I was like, I can't just make songs to your beats. I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be this full cohesive thing, and so I just came up with a theme for it, and then and tried to stick to the theme as much as I could the whole time. It really just started with the music. Like, we just wanted to make music, but I knew pretty early on when I was making the songs that if I was going to put a bunch of effort into making songs from scratch with somebody who's making beats from scratch, that I wanted to make sure that they were really fleshed out. Like, I didn't want them to be, you know, I didn't want them to just be songs. Like, I wanted it to all be like one thing. Like, I always tell people, like, if you're going to listen to the album, always run it all together. Don't just run the singles. I mean, people are going to add songs to playlists and stuff anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. You're going to listen to them as a single if you have favorite songs. But for me, I think it all sounds better as one giant vibe. You know what I mean? My favorite song on the project is probably High on Your Own Supply with David James.
He killed it.
He did. He did. Yeah, David James, yeah, man. It was cool because I wasn't trying to have him on it specifically, but me and him had been talking about trying to work together for a while, and he said that he got me. He's like, if you ever have anything, I got you. And I had wrote that song, and it was really like slow and vibey, and I was just kind of like, I wanted somebody who wouldn't typically do that type of thing. And so I was just trying to think of somebody who could really utilize their voice as like an instrument, who could really add value to the song. And when I started, you know, I was listening to a bunch of David James, like he was dropping new stuff, and I'm like, I bet he wouldn't normally do something like this. And so I shot it his way, and he was like, yeah, of course I'll do it. And so it was just one of those times where he came out to Reno, and I was like, are you in Reno? Pull up to the studio. He's like, cool, I'll pull up to the studio, but it has to be like 9:30 in the morning or something crazy. It was something crazy. I was like 9:30. But we made it happen because I was like, I had to get him on it. And I guess he was having issues with studios in LA or something or other. So one of my biggest obstacles, well, outside of having kids, I think that my biggest obstacle was probably just making sure it all sounded good. Because I think that there was just times where we spent more time trying to do little intricate sounds and mixing and mastering than I actually took to write the project. You know, I probably had all the songs written within 6 months to a year or whatever, and then everything else was like, you know, post, or it was like editing the music and stuff, trying to get stems from the beats, things like that. Shout out Van X for sending those stems, and shout out Smoke Screezy because he Smoke mixed and mastered the whole thing. City did some songs too. City did some songs, but Smoke doesn't like for me to say that City did any mixing and mastering. Yeah. Smoke's like, who? City? What did City do? What did City mix? And so I always have to be like, nah, he did this song or that song or whatever. Yeah, I think the only obstacles were really just the amount of time I had, and then just and then just like honing in the sound. Because like there were times where I wanted to drop it, and then like Smoke was like, we're not dropping this until it's perfect, you know? So there was some of that where I was just so over it. I was like, man, I'm fucking sick of sitting on this, like let's put it out. But I'm glad we took the time. Because it really made it a whole different thing, just taking the time to, work on those details. Felt the music the most?
Yeah.
The second one, because the first one, for people who weren't there, the first one, we had technical difficulties with the speakers, and we did it at a house, and so like the acoustics of the house were really interesting because the ceilings were really, really tall, and then the speakers that we had were really old, and so the music didn't project that well. Like throughout the whole house, and so it was getting distorted and people couldn't hear it. The third one, it was at a bar, and it was an open event because we teamed up with Till the Veins Run Dry. Shout out Eddie Rodriguez from Till the Veins Run Dry, and we got together and we did the merch drop, and then we did the album listening and stuff. I think people really liked it there too. It was just harder because it's like a bar environment, party environment, and half the people were there for the clothes, half the people were there for me. Now the second one at Global Goods that we did, shout out Jared and Global Goods, that one was the most intimate, and like people really sat and listened to the music, and the equipment that we had, we learned from the first one, and so the quality and the clarity of the music was up and stuff, and it was just like way more like people just like really sitting with it and trying to appreciate what I created. Whereas, the first and the second one, there was just difficulties with the vibe in general. The vibes were great. No, the vibes were great. It was really just the technical aspect of it, the hardware or whatever. So, nah.
Maybe. When do you think is the next one?
The next project? Fuck, I don't know. I really kind of wanted to like sit with this for like a year. I think I'm really gonna push this one for like a year. I'm probably gonna drop singles. I'll probably drop singles. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I kind of want to do like a house EP or something. Okay. I want to get with like a DJ and like make like a trance EP or something. But I don't know when the next time I'll do a whole album is. I think that if I really believe in this one, I gotta push it. I gotta really push this one and really put everything into it, because like I said, I don't want to just drop it and then here it is, like, and that's it, and then it dies. Like I want to do all the videos I can, Me and some of my team, we're working on a website. I'm gonna have merch. I shot a short film with JK the Visual. Shout out JK the Visual. And so there's like more aspects to this to keep it going, but the music's only gonna go as far as it's able to with the legs that I gave it. If the music's dope, it's gonna find its way somewhere. So even if I'm pushing something as hard as I can, if it's not that great, or if it's not that acclaimed, then it doesn't matter how much I push it, I guess. But once I start to feel the steam coming off of this project, I'll probably do another one. My next one is probably just gonna be Tyga type beats though. I'll probably do. I probably won't be like a thematic, concept album. It probably won't be a concept album like this one was. I'll probably just do really good songs. I don't know. Do people listen to albums? You listen to albums?
I listen to albums.
I listen. Yeah, I'm an album person. Like I like to listen to albums, but for some people, EPs are more the way. Because they're shorter, more concise. In which case, if I was gonna do that, I'd probably just do like 3 or 4 different EPs in a year. Do three 3-song EPs, and they'll all be different genres or something. Probably. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna do another full-length concept album. Maybe I will. We'll see how bored I get. I think the biggest thing for people who want to do music now would be like, if you want to do music, you want to make sure that you're doing it because you love the music and not because it's what's hot right now. I think that a lot of the times you'll see like evolutions in artists and stuff because they'll start doing music for like either they think they're going to get paid quickly or they think that they're going to like shoot up the ranks hella quick and it's easy to put together songs and then what happens is their style changes, like Mac Miller, like you think of Mac Miller or like Tyler the Creator or something who as their careers go on, they become more artistically inclined and more creative. And so I think that if you're getting into it, I think that you should just have that vision in the back of your head the whole time. Try to understand it from the standpoint of like being in love with the art and the music. Don't do it if you're just gonna. And maybe this is just me because like I just dropped an album and I think I'm really artsy and unpretentious and shit. But like if you're gonna just drop songs that are just songs that don't have any relevancy to what's going on around you. Then I think that you should just probably not do it at all. I think you should do something if it has like some sort of substance behind it. So, yeah, man, I mean, find the love in it and have fun with it too, because it's not fucking fun if you're trying to do it professionally. It's not fun for a long time. It's fun, but there's a lot of not fun moments, and a lot of stressful, discouraging moments. And so, find the love as much as you can. Do it for fun as much as you can. Practice for fun. Freestyle, hum, sing songs in the shower, in the car. Don't just do it to write songs and then upload them to YouTube or whatever. Do it for because you feel it's in your soul and shit. So yeah, go stream I Can't Hang Out, I'm Trying to Get Rich. I just dropped a music video for Sorry I Can't, song off of the album. I'm also coming out with a short film for the album within the coming months. I got to get with JK about that. And then other than that, yeah, I think I appreciate everybody who's put ears on it so far. Thank you for having me come out. I sincerely appreciate the fact that you took the time to listen to it and were like, yo, this is tight. Because, part of the reason why I held on to the album for so long was because I was like, I don't want to just give this to a bunch of ungrateful, unappreciative motherfuckers. So, so thank you, for real. Yeah. Go stream the album. Shout out everybody who I've already shouted out in this interview. Like 1 million people. Yeah, thanks.